There were many things in that story that cut deeply, and when the book was written, all of it happened long before any relationship had begun to heal. Paul Tatul Jr., the man who would eventually shape one of the most recognizable brands in custom motorcycles, first drew the Orange County Choppers logo at his mother's kitchen table. Using only a napkin and a pen, he sketched the now famous design that would one day be worth millions. Yet in 2011, a judge ruled that he could never use it again. His father had quietly registered the trademark without his son's name, and when Paul Jr. later uncovered the paperwork, the discovery shocked everyone in the courtroom. The creator of the symbol that made OCC a global name was legally stripped of the right to his own artistic identity. Paul Michael Tatul Jr. was born on October 2 in Orange County, New York, the oldest of 4 children. His parents, Paul Sr. and Paula, were already working hard to stay afloat. Back then the family lived in Pearl River, where Paul Sr. had started a welding business in 1973 with nothing more than a beat-up pickup truck and a single machine. From the time Paul Jr. could stand, anything mechanical fascinated him. At only a year and a half old, he was taking apart toys and bits of household gadgets, scattering parts everywhere. His parents quickly realized he wasn't just breaking things, he was studying them. Paul Sr. had served in the Merchant Marines, a world of long hours and physical punishment, and that same intensity shaped the household. While other children played outside, Paul Jr. spent his time in a shop full of sparks and the smell of heated steel. By age 5 he was already holding tools and watching welds, absorbing everything around him. Money was tight, stress was constant, and his father worked late welding railings just to cover bills. The kids grew up with the weight of that pressure. At 12 years old, Paul Jr. began spending summers at Orange County Iron Works. He swept floors, carried heavy scrap, and spent hours covered in dust and sweat. Within 2 years he was running equipment on his own, learning to shape metal under the sharp eyes of older workers. Mistakes brought public scolding, but that only pushed him to improve. Those tough lessons became the backbone of his character. The family moved to Montgomery, New York in the early 1980s, and by then Paul Jr. already thought of the shop as a second home. He once welded his glove to a piece of metal by accident. He remembered freezing for a moment, half terrified, half thrilled. Incidents like that cemented his early love for the dangerous beauty of fabrication. Life at home wasn't peaceful. His father had struggled with alcohol since his teens, an issue that ran deep in the family. Arguments erupted often, and the children never quite knew where to stand. Paul Jr. learned to escape into work, finding comfort in the predictability of metal. Steel didn't shout, drink, or slam doors. When he turned 12 in 1986, he officially started working summers for $5 an hour. He understood the family needed the money, and he worked hard for it. Every weld was inspected. Every flaw had to be fixed. By summer's end, he was trusted with small welding jobs. A quiet pride grew in him as the older workers began to respect his talent. At 14, as bills piled up and tensions climbed, he worked longer hours. One day sparks from his grinder ignited a pile of sawdust. He put out the flames quickly, but instead of praise, his father barked at him for not reacting faster. The criticism stung, but it toughened him, teaching him to stay calm in danger. High school, from 1988 to 1992, was split between regular classes and a vocational metal shop. There he created a metal spiderweb sculpture that took 40 hours to finish. Teachers noticed his natural talent, and for the first time he understood that metal could be more than labor, it could be art. Not all the lessons were positive. At 15 he watched his father lose a contract and explode in a violent rage, throwing tools across the shop. The moment shook him deeply. He quietly promised himself he would never let anger control his hands the same way. After graduating in 1992, he skipped college offers and returned to Ironworks full-time. His father mocked the decision, but Paul Jr. quickly proved himself. He redesigned production systems, raised efficiency, and eventually ran the entire railing shop by age 21. The company earned millions, and much of that success traced back to him. In 1997 he began building motorcycles during his spare time, experimenting with spare tubing and frames. His father dismissed it as a hobby, but word spread. Paul Jr. had a gift. By 1999 he invested his savings into tools, and turned a small shed behind the shop into the earliest version of Orange County Choppers. It was cramped and bare, but it became the birthplace of the brand. During this time in his mother's kitchen, he refined the OCC logo, the simple, bold design that would soon become famous worldwide. As the shop grew and the logo appeared everywhere, he didn't yet know his father had already trademarked it without him. Their first real breakthrough came with a custom Harley known as True Blue, which debuted at Daytona Bike Week and drew hundreds of admirers. More orders followed. The shop slowly turned into a real business. Everything changed in 2002 when the Discovery Channel aired the pilot of American Chopper. Viewers were instantly drawn to the jet-powered bike and the fiery dynamic between father and son. The series made them global stars, but also magnified every tension that had quietly existed for years. Through the early 2000s, the bikes became more ambitious. The Fire Bike honoring 9/11, the award-winning Elbow Bike, the Black Widow, and collaborations with NASA engineers. The shop's revenue soared. Merchandise exploded. But inside the walls, conflict grew. Deadlines became battlegrounds and miscommunication fueled explosive arguments. His father's long-standing struggles with alcoholism added to the chaos, though it wasn't publicly acknowledged until years later. By 2008, the rift had become unbridgeable. Paul Jr. would walk out during deadlines, exhausted and burnt out, while his father accused him of laziness. When they clashed on camera, millions watched. Behind the scenes, things were even worse. During this period, Paul Jr. secretly began sketching ideas for life beyond OCC. The breaking point came when he learned his father had backdated contracts claiming control of 80% of the business and undervalued the logo he created. Lawsuits followed. He was fired in 2009, and the moment aired to more than 4 million viewers. The firing reopened childhood wounds and sent him into depression. Therapy helped him slowly find his footing again. A long legal battle followed, revolving around ownership, valuation, and the right to build motorcycles. In 2010, the appeals court sided with him, saving his 20% stake. The eventual settlement in 2011 paid him out but banned him from using the OCC logo, his own creation. The courtroom drama became legendary, especially the moment when he described the logo as his stolen identity. Many who heard it never forgot the phrase. Even after limited reunions for the show in later years, the divide remained. By 2025, he confirmed he still had no contact with his father.